This is the Morning Drill on Stream Television and the Allegheny News Talk Sports Network. We welcome our first guest in this morning. Good morning. How are you?
Great. I'm awesome.
Awesome. Well, introduce yourself, sir.
My name is Chris Mosbaugh. I'm the park naturalist, environmental educator at Oil Creek State Park.
Well, Chris, good to have you in this morning. Welcome to the program.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, talk a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? How'd you get into this line of work?
Oh, I've been in this line of work for a long time. Retired from the federal government, spent 29 years with the Army Corps of Engineers.
Wow.
Last duty station was the manager of Kinsey Dam and Allegheny Reservoir. Always loved the outdoors. After I retired, wanted to get back into the outdoors, and I've been blessed to have an opportunity to work with the best state park system in the nation, with the Pennsylvania State Park System.
Did you grow up around that area?
I'm originally from Pennsylvania. I grew up in the Mercer County area, actually the Shenango Valley.
Okay. So what was your first experience into the park? Was it later in life? Was it early on as a kid? Did you guys ever go into the park?
Actually, it was very early on. I always liked to spend time outdoors, especially loved to fish. And so I had an opportunity to go to Shenango Reservoir and fish there. And one day I stopped in and the employment agency and said, I'd like to work there. And they told me, well, we don't have any jobs there. Are you crazy, young man? And I said, well, if you have any jobs, just give me a call. Well, the employment agency, the employment office was within walking distance of my home. I walked home, and I knocked on the door to get in, and my aunt was there, and she said, there's a telephone call for you. And it was a lady from the employment agency, and she said, you won't believe it. As soon as you walked out, Mr. Taylor called from Shenango Reservoir, and he needs someone to work there. And that was 1970.
Wow, that's incredible. So,
what walk?
Your whole career here, is there ever a day that you just don't look around your surroundings and go, boy, I'm bored of this place? I mean, you have to be pretty excited just to be out in nature.
Well, I have the awesome opportunity to spend time in the outdoors, to be active, to bike, to kayak, to backpack, and at the whole time I get to share my passion of the outdoors with members of the public. And we do all types of programming. We deal with everything from trees to wildflowers to kayaking to biking to just enjoying the outdoors. We just finished an awesome event. Our friends of Oil Creek State Park had an event called Chicks in the Sticks. And historically, maybe women somewhat feel intimidated and their male counterparts don't embrace them getting involved in outdoor sports. So our friends group decided we were going to get some local experts to help the women enjoy the outdoors, and they had an awesome weekend just a few weekends ago at Oil Creek State Park, and we plan to do that in the future, hopefully.
That friends group that you mentioned is a pretty interesting group of people. Talk about that for a minute.
Well, with state government and all government, revenues are reduced and very tight budgets. And in order to be able to provide the best for the public, what we've done is we've asked the general public to form friends groups to help us out with items we wouldn't be able to do. The friends group did an awesome thing. We just got a new playground. They wrote a grant, got $60,000. We have a beautiful playground right by our park office in the Eggbird farm area, and if it hadn't been for the Friends group, it wouldn't have been accomplished. Here locally, we have a group called the Over the Hill Gang, and they take care of all of our trail systems. They do a magnificent job.
They go out every Wednesday morning?
Every Wednesday they meet for breakfast in Titusville, and then they go out and they spend the day working, and they're the folks that keep the trails going. We would not be able to do it with the limited staff that we have. So this is the People's Park, and these are people who make a commitment, a time commitment, in order to come in and make it the best for everybody. It's awesome to work with them. People
like to go and visit what you do to relax and get away from things. What do you do? Where do you go to get away to relax?
Well, quite frankly, I do recreationally the same thing I do in the job. I love to fish, I boat, I kayak. I'm very interested in natural history. I bird watch, I hunt. I do the types of things that I get paid to do on the job. So I remember when I was in college, I'm an alumni at Penn State University, I had an instructor who said, if you want to be a naturalist, it's not a job, it's not a career, it's a lifestyle. And at that time I thought, that's sort of corny, but I look back on it and I say, yeah, he was right on target, because that's what my life is. For example, I had a couple days off, worked over the major holiday weekend, but had a couple days off just recently, and I had nephews that came in from New York City. What did they want to do? They wanted to go out swimming on the lake. I live at Lake Latonka. They want to go swimming on the lake, go boating and fishing. That's what we did. So there I am again, teaching them how to catch fish, identify fish, talk about the fish, talk about the environment, and talk about how man can have an impact, and a positive impact on the environment. So I guess I'm living the lifestyle.
Yeah, you're living the dream. But there's so many places around here that really add to the ecosystem. Pymatuning. It was fascinating visiting there. It's fascinating when folks get a chance to visit what you do. But they all sort of work hand in hand, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. Everything's connected. All of our land and all of our ecosystems are all connected. We work very closely with the other adjoining state parks. You mentioned Pymatuning, and work with Linda Armstrong, the naturalist educator there. Cook Forest State Park. We work together. We work cooperatively because we don't have large staffs. So if we have large events, we need to go ahead and solicit their help. And it's just awesome working with them. And our regional office is fantastic in providing equipment to do a variety of programs. That's
something what I think Dale said when he was on last month, Mark, was, folks from Presque Isle like to go to Cook Forest to help out. And likewise, people from Cook Forest will go to Presque Isle to help out. Everybody sort of helps each other.
Oh, absolutely. And we need to. For example, I'm going to be doing an archery program here soon, an introductory archery program, and Pymatuning has the equipment, so Pymatuning is going to lend it to me, and as soon as I'm finished with it, Presque Isle is going to use it, so we're going to make a swap of equipment so that we get the biggest bang for the buck. The equipment is constantly being used. People are constantly getting turned on about Pennsylvania state parks and a healthy lifestyle. We want to promote people to get outdoors, have fresh air, recreate their spirit, and have an opportunity to have a better life. And the Pennsylvania State Parks provide that.
You mentioned just a couple of minutes ago about having a positive impact on the environment. It's pretty easy to imagine how folks can ruin the environment, but how do we improve the environment? What do we do when we go outside?
Well, I think one thing is a practice that we call leave no trace. We ask that people come to our state parks, take pictures, have memories of what they did there, but don't show that they've been there. If they are having a picnic, we ask them clean it up. Make it nicer than it was when you got there. If they're backpacking, make sure that they clean up after themselves, that they don't, if they're fishing, if they have a snag in their fishing line, that they don't wrap it up and throw it on the shoreline, because that's where we have real problems. For example, like the bald eagles. We have bald eagles nesting in Oil Creek State Park. Last thing I want is to have an eagle entangled in monofilament fishing line. So to use common courtesy, act as if the park is your home, and try to keep it clean for the next visitor that comes.
So it's pretty much common sense stuff. It's just simple common sense actions that'll help preserve.
Absolutely.
But you have to have common sense.
Well, this is true,
right.
But these are the point is that they're simple things that you can do. It doesn't have to be terribly complicated.
Exactly. We would always encourage folks when they come to the state park, carpool. Not only are you helping the environment, you're not burning as much gas, but you're saving a few dollars yourself. And of course, we all want to do that today, save some money. And It's magnificent. I've been all over the United States working with the federal government and in different jobs. And most state parks, when you go in, They want money. They want an entrance fee. I was in Florida. It was $7.50 a vehicle to go in each day. And you go into Oil Creek State Park, you go into Pontotoc, and they're free. They're taken care of by your tax dollars. And we just ask people to use the state park respectfully and to realize they really have a gem of an organization in order to provide all that they provide, and there's no cost out of pocket generally.
8:22 is our time. This is the Morning Drill on Stream Television and the Allegheny News Talk Sports Network. What's your favorite season to be in?
Well, They say that if spring is a time of the senses with all the flowers and the birds singing, then fall is the time for the soul. And I guess I'd say fall would be the time that I like. I hate to see that less people start using our park in the fall, but it is sort of things are coming to a closure, and it's a time to sit back and reflect. And I'd say fall is my favorite time.
And we're getting into fall quickly here. Summer's just flying by. What's it like for you to see families and folks using the parks? Do you get much time to sit and chat with the folks who are out and about?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So many times will people come up and say, "Oh, we love this park. We saw a bear on the bike trail." I say, "Was it a good encounter?" And of course it always is. And they say, "Yeah, it was awesome. My child had never seen a bear, and we had an opportunity to talk about it. We went down the road and we saw a deer, and a deer with a fawn, because the fawns are out now." And it's awesome that they see it, and it's an opportunity to have family relationships. And so, as far as I'm concerned, and that's the reason I do this, because I am retired. I do this because it's such a great payback. More than just a paycheck. It's changing of lives. Pennsylvania State Parks change lives.
Just don't feed the bear, right?
No, absolutely. Don't feed the bear. And what we said about being respectful of the park, make sure you put your garbage in the dumpster, because if you don't, the bears will definitely come and visit.
Let me ask you this question, because obviously it's been in the news. The situation, which was horrible in Orlando with the boy and the alligators down there at Disney. This was just a couple weeks ago, right? Or this last month. And there was a big push. Okay, we're going to go out. I can't remember how many alligators they euthanized. Try to figure out the situation. At what point do you say, well, this is their environment? The humans made a mistake. This is their environment. Why are we out killing them?
I think that's the basis for a lot of environmental education. The job naturalists like myself have is to educate the public so that those parents realize that pond over there has alligators. Alligators are going to operate on instinct, and so that you need to keep your children and small pets away from danger. And I know Disney has park people who do education, but that's just an enhancement of it. For example, we have bears in the park. We don't want to feed bears. We have never had an encounter, and we never want to have an encounter. And I'm hopeful, because of the message that naturalists and educators put out, we're not going to have those types of encounters. It's an absolute shame what happened there in Orlando, and I believe that through the media, advertising it and putting the word out that, hey, these are off limits, in order to go ahead and eliminate the population of alligators in Disney is going to be an effort in futility. Because they are just it's their natural environment, and there's a lot there. And they're a tourist attraction of Florida to see alligators. It's a matter of education. And parents have to take responsibility for their children and themselves. We can't have a society constantly takes care of us. We need to be able to take care of ourselves. And that's one of the things that we teach in Pennsylvania State Parks, how to be self-sustaining, how to be able to take care of yourself in the outdoors. Know the dangers. If you know the dangers, you can avoid the dangers. It's just like a stop sign. Stop sign's there on the road for us to stop so we don't have an accident. We learn that when we learn to stop, it's the same thing being in the outdoors. It's not a foreign environment. It's just that we're starting to get away from that environment today.
So education is really key to this.
Absolutely.
Well, I think obviously in that situation, people were frustrated, and I understand looking for the alligator that got him. But if there was a bear attack here, let's say, I mean, you don't go out and kill every bear you find, right? I mean, that's...
Oh, that's correct. Yeah. I mean, if it is a bear that historically has created problems, oftentimes those are euthanized and eliminated from the population. I mean, if they continuously come in and create problems, human conflicts, there's not much choice to do it, because inevitably there's going to be a major conflict between the animals and humans. But as a general rule, the bears are more scared of people than people are of bears, and it's just a matter of education.
I always, when I first moved here 11 or 12 years ago, had an encounter with the neighborhood bear out in the country at the time, and quickly became acquainted with the rules of how and when and where to place your garbage out for collection.
Absolutely.
It's just a matter of learning how to deal with that.
Well, what's going on between now and fall? Anything exciting?
We've got all kinds of things exciting. Everything's exciting. We're going to have... I really am very interested in plants and the animals that are in the park. And this Saturday, we're going to have a bicycling for summer wildflowers. And we'll get on bikes. And if people don't have bikes, of course, State Parks has them, and we'll make arrangements that you can go ahead and borrow our bikes and use them. And we're going to get on the trail, on the bike trail at Oil Creek State Park, probably travel somewhere 6 to 10 miles, and we'll stop and we'll take a look at the wildflowers. Well, it's not just a matter of fact of saying, oh, there's a dandelion over there, but we're going to tell you, hey, there's a dandelion, and how did the dandelion help win World War I and World War II? And are there any drinks that you can make with dandelion? Is there any value of dandelion? What vitamins are in dandelion? What has modern medical research found about a certain wildflower? What plant that is out there that can be used and has been used for hundreds of years as a substitute for gunpowder? So it's more of just naming a plant, but it's giving the rest of the story. As Paul Harvey used to say, right. The rest of the story. Well, the rest of the story is each and every plant and animal that's living in our natural environment has a use, has a purpose, and we relay that to the public so they can better understand it. We have that program going on. I mentioned Archery 101. Archery is a fast-growing sport. Not only is it an Olympic sport, and just over in our neighboring Mercer County, Golden Grain Archery over there had they trained a gold medalist archer.
Did they?
A number of years ago, yes. And archery is growing phenomenally, and we have been very lucky to be able to acquire some real good archery equipment. We're going to teach a class in archery. It's not that we're teaching people to hunt. You don't have to be, if you're an archer, you don't have to hunt. You can hunt, but it's a sport that basically is a lifelong sport that you can use. And we go through the safety aspect, we go through the history aspect, and we give them lots of time to be able to go ahead and shoot the bows and become confident on it. I have a children's frog calling and fishing evening. So we're going to go out there, try to catch some fish at a local pond that we have, and the frogs are calling. And so what we do is we try to communicate with nature, and we're going to try doing some frog calling and some fishing.
Very nice. Hey, Chris, can we have you back sometime?
I think so, if I'm not having too much fun out there in the trails and the awesome Pennsylvania State Parks. All
right. It's great having you on. We'd love to have you back. A fast segment. Thank you for being here. Real quick, is there a phone number that folks can give you a call?
You can give me a call at our office. That's 814 area code. The number is 676-5915. And don't forget, come out to Oil Creek State Park and visit us. It's awesome.
Thank you, sir. Good to see you this morning.
Thank you.
Final look at news coming up next.
Bees in the hive chase all the clouds from the sky.